Hello, reading room. This is Dr. Annette Feravich, and I am here reading Orphan Train, which just is amazingly great. It is just such a good stories from two positions, which are basically one, right? You know the position, two position narrative, basically one. Hemingford, Minnesota, 1940 to 1943. This is day number 13 in the reading room for Orphan Train. Look for 1 through 12 in the playlist that we have. There's an Orphan Train. Every time we start a new book, we start a new I do put up so far a new playlist. I don't know if whatever. It's March 3rd, day 318. Let's get started, reading room. In front of other people, I call him Luke, but he'll always be Dutchy to me. He calls me Viv. It sounds a bit like Neve, he says. We decide that we'll live in Hemingford so I can run the store. We'll rent a small bungalow on a side street several blocks from the Nielsen's, 4 rooms downstairs and one up. As it happens, with perhaps a little help from Mr. Nielsen, who may have mentioned something to the superintendent at a Rotary meeting. The Hemingford School is looking for a music teacher. Dutchy also keeps his weekend gig at the Grand in Minneapolis, and I go in with him on Friday and Saturday nights to have dinner and hear him play. On Sundays now, he plays the organ at Grace Lutheran, replacing the lead-footed organist who was persuaded it was time to retire. When I told Mrs. Nielsen that Dutchy had asked me to marry him, she frowned. I thought you said you wanted nothing to do with marriage, she said. You're only 20. What about your degree? What about it, I said. It's a ring on my finger, not a pair of handcuffs. Most men want their wives to stay at home. When I related this conversation to Dutchy, he laughed. Of course you'll get your degree. Those tax laws are complicated. Dutchy and I are about as opposite as two people can be. I am practical and circumspect. He is impulsive and direct. I'm accustomed to getting up before the sun rises. He pulls me back to bed. He has no head at all for math, so in addition to keeping the books at the store, I balance our accounts at home and pay our taxes. Before I met him, I could count on one hand the times I'd had a drink. He likes a cocktail every night, says it relaxes him and will relax me too. He is handy with the hammer and nail from his experience on the farms, but he often leaves projects half finished. Storm windows stacked in a corner while snow rages outside, a leaky faucet disemboweled, its parts all over the floor. I can't believe I found you, he tells me over and over, and I can't believe it either. It's as if a piece of my past has come to life, and with it all, the feelings I fought to keep down, my grief at losing so much, at having no one to tell, at keeping so many parts of myself hidden. Dutchy was there. He knows who I was. I don't have to pretend. We lie in bed longer than I am used to on Sunday mornings. The store doesn't open until 10. and there's nowhere Dutchy and I has and there's nowhere Dutchy has to be. I make coffee in the kitchen and bring 2 steaming mugs back to bed, and we spend hours together in the soft early light. I am delirious with longing and the fulfillment of that longing, the desire to touch his warm skin, trace the sinew and muscle just under the surface, pulsing with life. I nestle in his arms, in the nooks of his knees, his body bowed around mine, his breath on my neck, fingers tracing my outline. I have never felt like this, slow-witted and like languorous, dreamy, absent-minded, forgetful. focused only on each moment as it comes. When Dutchie lived on the streets, he never felt as alone, he tells me, as he did growing up in Minnesota. In New York, the boys were always playing practical jokes on each other and pooling their food and clothes. He misses the press of people, the noise and chaos, black Model Ts rattling along the cobblestones, the treacly smell of street vendors, peanuts roasting and sugar. What about you? Do you ever wish you could go back? He asks. I shake my head. Our life was so hard. I don't have many happy memories of that place. He pulls me close, runs his fingers along the soft white underside of my forearm. Were your parents ever happy, do you think? Maybe, I don't know. Pushing the hair back from my face and tracing a line of my jaw with his finger, he says, with you I'd be happy anywhere. Though it's just the kind of thing he says, I believe that it's true. And I know with the newfound clarity of being in a relationship myself that my own parents were never happy together and probably never would have been, whatever their circumstance. Yeah, and you know what? Right there, that would not be true to me, for me and my husband. There were things, but that would not be true. That we would probably never be happy together, no matter what the circumstance. That's not true for my husband and I. We could not be happy together because of the circumstance, and that was it. On a mild afternoon in early December, I am at the store going over inventory orders with Margaret, the sharp-eyed accounts manager. Packing receipts and forms are all over the floor. I'm trying to decide whether to order more ladies' trousers than last year and looking at the popular styles in the catalog as well as Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. The radio is on low, swing music is playing, and then Margaret holds her hand up and says, "Wait, did you hear that?" She hurries over to the radio and adjusts the dial. "Repeat, this is a special report. President Roosevelt said in a statement today that the Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii from the air. The attack on the Japanese has also been made on all naval and military activities on the island of Oahu. I'm not sure. Casualty numbers are unknown." And like that, everything changes. And that's where we're going in our Reader's Digest magazine to 1940. We jump from 1937. We don't have 38 or 39. We jump from 1937 to 1940. Some interesting articles. I think I'm going to read them all. I think I'm going to continue to read them all. Why not? That CIO one was somewhat could have been over my head. It probably wasn't, only because I read it twice, or at least part of it twice, and I was getting the gist and the analogy that I had with Oakland University as well, right? Okay, so Bookless Classroom. 2 articles, 2 great articles. The radio is on low, swing music is playing, and then Margaret holds her hand up and, all right, a few weeks later, Lil comes into the store to see me, her eyes rod-rimmed, tears straining her cheeks. "Richard shipped out yesterday, and I don't even know where he's going. They just gave him a numbered mailing address that doesn't tell me anything." Sobbing into a crumpled white handkerchief, she says, "I thought this stupid war was supposed to be over by now. Why does my fiance have to go?" When I hug her, she clings to my shoulder. Wherever you look are posters encouraging sacrifice and support for the war effort. Many items are rationed: meat, cheese, butter, lard, coffee, sugar, silk, nylon shoes. Our entire way of business changes as we work with those flimsy blue booklets. We learn to make change for ration stamps, giving red point tokens as change for red stamps for meat and butter, and blue point tokens for blue stamps, processed food. The tokens are made of compressed wood fiber, the size of dimes. In the store, we collect ladies' lightly used stockings for use in parachutes and ropes, and tin and steel for scrap and metal drives. Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy is constantly on the radio. I shift our purchasing to reflect the mood, ordering gift cards and blue onion skin airmail letter forms by the gross, dozens of American flags in all sizes, beef jerky, warm socks, decks of playing cards to go in care packages to ship overseas. Our stock boys shovel driveways and deliver groceries and packages. Boys from my graduating class are signing up and shipping out, and every week there's a farewell potluck dinner in a church basement or the lobby of the Roxy. That was the name, Roxy, of the embroidery link, Roxy, or in someone's home. Judy Smith's boyfriend, Douglas, is one of the first. The day he turns 18, he goes down to the recruiter's office and presents himself for service. Hot-headed Tom Price is next. When I run into him on the street before he leaves, he tells me that there's no downside. The war's open door to travel and adventure with a good bunch of guys to mess around with and a salary. We don't talk about the danger, but what I imagine is a cartoon version, bullets flying and each boy a superhero, running invincible through a spray of gunfire. Fully a quarter of the boys from my class volunteer, and when the draft begins, more and more pack up to leave. I feel sorry for the boys with flat feet or severe asthma or partial deafness I see in the store after their buddies are gone, aimlessly wandering the aisles. They seem lost in their ordinary civilian clothes. But Dutchie doesn't join the bandwagon. Let them come for me, he says. I don't want to believe he'll get called up. After all, Dutchie is a teacher. He's needed in the classroom. But soon enough, it becomes clear that it's only a matter of time. The day Dutchie leaves for Fort Snelling in Hennepin County for basic training, I take the claddagh off the chain around my neck and wrap it in a piece of felt. Tucking it in his breast pocket, I tell him, now a part of me will be with you. I'll guard it with my life, he says. The letters we exchange are filled with hope and longing and a vague sense of the importance of the mission of the American troops and the milestone of his training. Dutchie passes his physical and scores high on the mechanical aptitude test. Based on these results, he's inducted into the Navy to help replace those lost at Pearl Harbor. Soon enough, he's on a train to San Diego for technical training, and when 6 weeks after he leaves, I write to tell him that I'm pregnant. Dutchie says that he is over the moon. The thought of my child growing inside you will keep me going through the roughest days, he writes. Just knowing that finally I have a family waiting for me makes me more determined than ever to do my duty and find my way home. I am tired all the time and sick to my stomach. I'd like to stay in bed, but I know it's better to stay busy. Mrs. Nielsen suggests that I move back in with them. She says they'll take care of me and feed me. They're worried that I'm getting too thin, but I prefer to be on my own. I'm 22 years old now, and I've gotten used to living like an adult. As the weeks pass, I am busier than ever, working long days in the store and volunteering in the evenings, running the metal drives and organizing shipments for the Red Cross. But behind everything I do is a low hum of fear. Where is he now? What is he doing? In the letters I write to Dutchie, I try not to dwell on my sickness. The constant queasy feeling that the doctor tells me means the baby is thriving inside me. I tell him instead about the quilt I'm making for the baby, how I cut the patterns out of newspaper and then fine sandpaper, which sticks to the material. I choose a pattern with the woven look at the corners that resembles the weaving of a basket, 5 strips of fabric around the border. It's cheerful, yellow and blue and peach and pink calico, with off-white triangles in the middle of each square. The woman in Mrs. Murphy's quilting group, of which I am the youngest member and honorary daughter, they've cheered my every milestone, are taking extra care with it, hand sewing in precise small stitches a pattern on top of the design. Dutchie completes his technical training and aircraft carrier flight dock training, and after he's been in San Diego for a month, he learns that soon he'll be shipping out. Given his training and the desperate situation with the Japanese, he figures he'll be heading to the Central Pacific to assist Allied forces in that region, but nobody knows for sure. Surprise, skill, and power. This, the Navy tells its sailors, is what it will take to win the war. The Central Pacific, Burma, China. These are only names on a globe. I take one of the world maps we sell in the store, rolled tightly and stored in a vertical container and spread it on the counter. My finger skims the cities of Yangon near the coast and Mandalay, the darker mountainous region farther north. I was prepared for Europe, even its far reaches, Russia or Siberia, but the Central Pacific, it's so far away on the other side of the world that I have a hard time imagining it. I go to the library and stack books on a table, geographical studies, histories of the Far East, travelers' journals. I learned that Burma is the largest country in South Asia, that it borders India and China and Siam. It's in the monsoon region. Annual rainfall in the coastal areas is about 200 inches, and the average temperature of those areas is close to 90 degrees. A third of its perimeter is coastline. The writer George Orwell published a novel, Burmese Days, and several essays about life there. What I get from reading them is that Burma is about as far from Minnesota as it's possible to be. Over the next few weeks, as one day grinds into the next, life is quiet and tense. I listen to the radio, scour the Tribune, wait anxiously for the mail drop, and devour Dutchie's letters when they come, scanning quickly for news. Is he okay, eating well, healthy, and parsing every word for tone and nuance as if its sentences are a code I can crack? I remember doing that. I'll tell you what, when I was a little girl with my cousin's letters, I would look at her tone first. Like, is she okay? I did that. I did do that. I hold each blue-tinted, tissue-thin letter to my nose and inhale. He too held this paper. I run my fingers over the words. He formed each one. Dutchie and his shipmates are waiting for orders. Last minute flight deck drills in the dark, the preparation of sea bags, every corner filled and every piece in place. From, oh my gosh. They were letters. After I graduated. I think I corresponded with Sister Maria after I graduated. I think I did. I'm not sure. All those letters were supposed to be kept. I had them all kept, and my mom packed everything up, and they were gone. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Mom. Taking care of my shit. Ooh, number one. Number one, I owe $1. So we need to look back. You can look back at Lent. And I said I would at Early Birds. And so we've got our first Lent. Let's give the day. It is 3/3/26. 1. And that's what I do. Even if I stub my toe, I'll do it. Nobody's here, I'll do it. Why wouldn't I? Like I can't afford $1 to give to charity. Yeah, then I used to give $50. Try to keep it low, give high. Dutchie and his shipmates are waiting for orders. Last-minute flight decks, drill in the dark, the preparations of sea bags and other corner-filled, and every corner filled, and every piece in place, from rations to ammunition. It's hot in San Diego, but they're warned that where they're going will be worse, almost unbearable. I'll never get used to the heat, he writes. I miss the cool evenings, walking along the street holding your hand. I even miss the damn snow. Never thought I'd say that. But most of all, he says, he misses me, my auburn hair in the sun, the freckles on my nose, the hazel eyes, the child growing in my stomach. You must be getting big, he says. I can only imagine the sight. Now they're on the aircraft carrier in Virginia. This is the last note he'll send before they embark. He's giving it to the chaplain who came on board to see them off. The flight deck is 862 feet long. 862 feet long. He writes, we wear seven different colors to designate our jobs. As a maintenance technician, my deck jersey, float coat, and helmet are an ugly green, the color of overcooked peas. I picture him standing on the floating runway, his lovely blonde hair hidden under a drab helmet. Over the next 3 months, I receive several dozen letters, weeks after he writes them, sometimes 2 in the same day, depending on where they were mailed from. Dutchie tells me about the tedium of life on board, how his best friend from their basic training days, another Minnesotan named Jim Daly, has taught him to play poker, and they spend long hours below decks with the revolving cast of servicemen in an endless ongoing game. He talks about his work, how important it is to follow protocol, and how heavy and uncomfortable his helmet is, how he's beginning to get used to the roar of the plane engines as they take off and land. He talks about being seasick and the heat. He doesn't mention combat or planes being shot down. I don't know if he isn't allowed to or if he doesn't want to frighten me. I love you, he writes again and again. I can't bear to live without you. I'm counting the minutes until I see you. The words he uses are the idioms of popular songs and poems in the newspaper, and mine to him are no less cliched. The puzzle over the onion skin trying to spill my heart onto the page, but I can only come up with the same words in the same order, and I hope the depth of feeling beneath them gives them weight and substance. I love you. I miss you. Be careful. Be safe. Hemingford, Minnesota, 1943. It is 10 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, and I've been in the store for an hour, first going over accounts in the back room and now walking down each aisle, as I do every day, to make sure that the shelves are tidy and the sale displays are set up correctly. I'm in the back aisle rebuilding a small pyramid of Jergens face cream that has toppled into a stack of ivory soap when I hear Mr. Nielsen say, "Can I help you?" in a strange, stiff voice. Then he says sharply, "Viola." I don't stop what I'm doing, though my heart races in my chest. Mr. Nielsen rarely calls his wife by her name. I continue building the pyramid of Jergens jars 5 on the bottom, then 4, 3, 2, 1 on top. I stack the leftover jars on the shelf behind the display. I replace the ivory soap that was knocked off the pile. When I'm done, I stand in the aisle waiting. I hear whispering. After a moment, Mrs. Nielsen calls, "Vivian, are you here?" A Western Union man is standing at the cash register in his blue uniform and black-brimmed cap. The telegram is short. "The Secretary of War regrets to inform you that Luke Maynard was killed in action on February 16th, 1943. Further details will be forwarded to you as they become available." I don't hear what the Western Union man says. Mrs. Nielsen has started to cry. I touch my stomach. The baby, our baby. In the coming months, I will get more information. Dutchie and 3 others were killed when a plane crashed onto the fleet carrier. There was nothing anyone could do. The plane came apart on top of him. I hope you will find comfort in the fact that Luke died instantly. He never felt a thing. His shipmate Jim Daly writes, "Later I receive a box of his personal effects, his wristwatch, letters I wrote to him, some clothes, the Claddagh cross. I open the box and touch each item. Then close it and put it away. It will be years before I wear the necklace again." Dutchie hadn't wanted to tell anyone on base that his wife was pregnant. He was superstitious, he said. He didn't want to jinx it. I'm glad of that. Glad that Jim Daly's letter of condolence is one to a wife, not a mother. The next few weeks, I get up early in the morning before it's light and go to work. I reorganize entire sections of merchandise. I have a big new sign made for the entrance and hire a design student to work on our windows. Despite my size, I drive to Minneapolis and walk around the large department stores, taking notes on how they create their window displays, trends in colors and styles that haven't filtered up to us yet. I order inner tube sunglasses and beach towels for summer. Lil and Em take me to the cinema, to a play, out to dinner. Mrs. Murphy invites me regularly for tea, and one night I am woken by a searing pain and know it's time to go to the hospital. I call Mr. Nielsen as we've planned and pack my small bag, and Mrs. Nielsen, and she picks me up and drives me there. I am in labor for 7 hours, the agony so great in the last stretch that I wonder if it's possible to split in half. I start to cry from the pain, and all the tears I haven't shed for Dutchie come flooding out. I am overcome with grief, with loss, with the stark misery of being alone. I learned long ago that loss is not only probable but inevitable. I know what it means to lose everything, to let go of one life and find another, and now I feel with a strange deep certainty that it must be my lot in life to be taught that lesson over and over again. Lying in that hospital bed, I feel all of it, the terrible weight of sorrow, the crumbling of my dreams. I sob uncontrollably for all that I've lost, the love of my life, my family, a future I dare to envision. And in that moment, I make a decision. I can't go through this again. I can't give myself to someone so completely only to lose them. I don't want ever again to experience the loss of someone I love beyond reason. There, Mrs. Nielsen says, her voice rising in alarm. If you keep on like you'll, she says, go dry. But what I hear is die. I want to die, I tell her. I have nothing left. You have this baby, she says. You'll go on for this baby. I turn away, I push, and after a time the baby comes. The little girl is as light as a hen in my arms. Her hair is wispy and blonde. Her eyes are as bright as underwater stones. Dizzy with fatigue, I hold her close and shut my eyes. I've told no one, not even Mrs. Nielsen, that I'm about to do what I am about to do. I whisper a name in the baby's ear. Macy. Like me, she is the reincarnation of a dead girl. And then I do it. I give her away. This is just, oh. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. Woo. It is March 3rd. It is day 318. And we're reading Orphan Train by Christina Baker Kline. Thanks so much for writing such an amazing book. And thanks for joining me here on day 1 of 3 days on after we enjoyed 4 days off. Hope that you kept things busy for yourself on those 4 days off. I'll see you tomorrow in Early Birds. Thanks for joining me again. Thanks for joining me.